Chapter 30, Louis. Louis had a red face and a mustache of many colors. He was the yard teacher at Wayside School. It was his job to see that the children didn't have too much fun during lunch and recess. And if you haven't already guessed, he is the one who wrote this book. On June 10th, there was a blizzard. Louis was afraid that the children would have too much fun, so nobody was allowed outside. "Class," said Mrs. Jules, "after you finish your lunch today, come back up to the classroom. You are not allowed outside." The children all went to the lunchroom. Miss Mush had made tuna surprise. They looked at it, then hurried back up the stairs. There was nothing to do. "Now, class," said Mrs. Jules, "I know that you are all bored, but I have a special surprise for you." "I hope it's better than the tuna surprise," said Marisha. Mrs. Jules continued, "Louis is going to come up and entertain us. He will tell us a story. Now I want you all to be on your best behavior." When Louis walked in, the children all booed. "Are you going to tell us a story?" asked Bibi. "Yes," said Louis. "Well, it better be good," Bibi warned. "It better be better than tuna surprise," said Butterfingers. "I thought the tuna surprise was good," said Louis. "You'd eat dirt if they put enough ketchup on it," said Mac. "Hey, everybody be quiet," said Todd. "Let him tell the story." "Not too loud, Louis," said Sherry. "I'm trying to get some sleep." Louis sat in the middle of the room, and all the children gathered around. Louis began his story. "This is a story about a school very much like this one. But before we get started, there is something you ought to know so that you don't get confused. In this school, every classroom is on the same story." "Which one, the 18th?" asked Jenny. "No," said Louis. "They are all on the ground. The school is only one story high." "Not much of a school," laughed Damien. Louis continued. "Now you might think the children there are strange and silly. That is probably true. However, when I told them stories about you, they thought you were strange and silly." "Us?" the children answered. "How are we strange?" "I'm normal," said Stephen, "aren't I?" "As normal as I am," Joe assured him. "The children at that school must be crazy," said Leslie. "Real Lulus," Marisha agreed. "Tell us about them, Louis," Bibi demanded. "For one thing," Louis said, "none of these children has ever been turned into an apple." "That's silly," said Dee Dee. "Everybody's been turned into an apple. It's part of growing up." Louis continued. "Dead rats don't walk into classrooms wearing raincoats." "What do they wear, tuxedos?" asked Tad. "And girls never try to sell their toes," Louis added. "Well, no wonder," said Leslie, "at today's prices." Louis continued. "They don't trade names or read upside down. They can't turn mosquito bites into numbers. They don't count the hairs on their heads. The walls don't laugh, and 2 + 2 always equals 4. "How horrible," said Damien. "That's not the worst of it," said Louis. "They have never tasted Marisha-flavored ice cream." A hush fell over the classroom. "Mrs. Jules, I'm scared," said Allison. "Is there really a school like that?" "Of course not," said Mrs. Jules. "Louis was just telling a story." "It was a good story," said Leslie. "I thought it was stupid," said Kathy. "I liked it," said Rondi. "It was funny." Mrs. Jules said, "Louis, it was a very entertaining story, but we don't really go in for fairy tales here. I'm trying to teach my class the truth." "That's all right," said Louis. "I have to go down to room 29 now and tell them a story." He started out the door. "Class," said Mrs. Jules, "let's all thank Louis for his wonderful story." Everybody booed. The end.